Hello, Year 4. Hope you are all well and that you are ready for another day's reading. So we're going to be getting stuck into our inference questions very soon. But before we do that, of course, we have to recap the 8 key bits of vocabulary that we learnt on Monday and practiced yesterday as well. So this time we're going to switch it around. I'm going to give you the action that we've learnt, and then I would like you to call the word out to your screen, please. So get ready. All the words are behind me. Hopefully you can read those in case you get stuck or just want a memory jog as well. So, action 1. Of course, that one is crowding. Very good. Second word. Sorely, which means very or extremely. So right at the top, sorely. My favorite one, errand, of course, because we run errands. It's like a small job or a task that you need to get done. If I'm shoving things into my mouth, guzzle. Very good to eat in a really greedy kind of way. Word number 5. I'm sort of rubbing dirt in my face. It would be grubby. Good, which means sort of dirty or messy. Word 6. If I'm ripping something up, it becomes tattered. Tattered. Penultimate word now. Looks like Mr. Parker's thinking very hard. He must be puzzled. Puzzled. And then can you think what the last one's going to be from just what I haven't done so far? Process of elimination. Word number 8 is going to be, I'm moving something around like my gear stick. I am shifting. Shifting. Very good, guys. So that is our key vocab for this week. Do make sure that you are using it in your conversation. Use it in your writing as well. Could be really useful to use with your fiction text that you're doing with Miss Boots at the moment. So this, I'm just going to share my screen with you now. This is the point in the video that it would be really good if you could go back to the home learning document and watch the video of me reading through I Was a Rat, Chapter 1, one more time. Or if you've got the text, read through it yourself, maybe read it out loud. Either way, as long as you are going through the text one more time, that would be fantastic. So if you could do that, pause the video, and then come back and resume when you have read it. Okay, off you go. So, hopefully you've all had a chance to go through the chapter 1 of I Was a Rat by Philip Pullman one more time. Let's have a look at our inference questions today. So this is an example one that we're going to be doing. And before we get started, what is the difference? Have a think, what's the difference between a literal question and an inference question? I know we say this pretty much every week, but it's really important that we know the difference. So, of course, a literal question that we did yesterday are the ones where are questions that you can find the answer in the text. You don't really need to use many analytical skills. You can just sort of find the answer right there in the text for you. Whereas an inference question, you are having to take clues from the text and a bit of evidence to help give your opinion or to find evidence to answer a question. So it's a bit of a harder skill to do, which is why we keep practicing it each week. So let's read this example question here, this example inference question. Which statement best describes how the boy was feeling when he looked at the fire? Choose one, and this is from page 9. Terrified, furious, amazed. So I'm going to go under my visualizer here where I've got the question all set up. I've got page 9 over here and the question all set up here with our steps to success as well. So first thing we're going to do is underline the keywords of the question. Now, if you've got a highlighter or a pen or whatever it is, then you can use that, or just a pencil is absolutely fine. I'm using a bright pink, so hopefully it'll show up nice and clearly. So what are the keywords in this question? Well, certainly fire is going to be one of the key words because we need to know how he's feeling when he's looking at the fire. So that's going to be a really central thing. And then the other one, I would say, is feeling as well, because in our answer, we need to know what emotion the fire brings out in the boy. So feeling and fire are going to be the main ones. And I'd also put boy as well, because it's about how he's feeling. It's not about how Bob's feeling. It's not about how Joan's feeling. It's about how the boy is feeling. So I would say those are the three key words of the question, because we need to describe how the boy was feeling when he looked at the fire. So I can say that I can tick this off. I've done step one. Now I need to skim and scan the text for these key words. Now the key words are boy, feeling, and fire. Boy, I probably won't look for as much as the other two. Now, why do you think that might be? So the reason that I'm probably not going to stop every time I see boy is because he's really the central character in this. So we're going to be stopping every other moment. I would say feeling and also fire as well. Now remember, we may not find the exact word for fire, so think of what would be some synonyms for the word for fire. Maybe flames, maybe anything to do with heat, something like that, fireplace perhaps. So we need to have a look there for different words as well. So next step, let's skim and scan for those key words. Oh, that's happened very, very easily indeed. We've got fire straight away, and I can see actually on the next line we've got flames as well. So we have two words there that are going to help us. So now we need to read around the key words to see if this is the right spot, because it might come later in the paragraph or later in the page. So night was cold and sat him down by the fire. He looked at the flames as if he'd never seen anything like them before. Now, I think actually I haven't gone far enough back, because I don't know. I can assume that this is the boy, but it just says he at the moment. So this could be Bob for all we know. So I am going to turn back to page 8 to the start of the sentence, just to make sure that's who we're talking about. But the little boy could only say, I was a rat. The old couple took him into the kitchen because the night was cold and sat him down by the fire. Yes, so it is, just to confirm, I think it's always best to be safe. It is the boy that we're talking about here. So I've read around the key words. Now, the question is, how did the boy feel when he looked at the fire? If it was a literal question, it would say, the boy felt terrified, furious, or amazed. But here we're going to have to use our inference a bit. So he looked at the flames as if he'd never seen anything like them before. Remember, this is a boy that's come from the sewers, that hasn't really lived in a house before. So this is going to be kind of brand new to him. Now, I don't think he's terrified, because otherwise he might be jumping back from the fire or looking scared. And it mentions nothing about him being scared. Furious is a synonym for angry. Well, he's looking at them, but it doesn't say that he's angry. It doesn't say, it's not giving a show, don't tell, like maybe he's trembling or he's clenching his fist. There's nothing like that. I would say amazed is the word that fits best, because he's looking at them as if he'd never seen anything like them before. Now, if you've never seen fire before, you're probably going to be quite amazed by it and quite shocked. So I've read around the keywords, and because this is I only need to choose one word, it's a multiple choice question, I don't actually need to put this one in a full sentence. So I don't need to say the statement that best describes how the boy was feeling is amazed. Because it's a multiple choice one, I can just write amazed. Then I'm going to check my answer makes sense. Well, for a multiple choice one, it doesn't matter so much because it's only one word. Does it answer the question? Yes, I would say that amazed is the feeling that fits best in that statement. So I'm going to go over now to the slideshow, and we're going to have a look at some of the inference questions that you guys are going to be answering. So here are the first three questions here. And you can see on question 2, you've got a very similar question to the one that we looked at as a practice. So remember, if it's a multiple choice, you don't need to write as a full sentence. However, for questions 1 and 3 here, it would be great if you could do that. So the steps to success are down in the bottom right-hand corner. The questions, the first 3 are out in front of you. if you can get those answered, and then resume when you are ready to go. Off you go. So hopefully that's given you a chance to go through those first 3 questions. So if you could make sure you get out a different color pencil or pen, and we can mark these first 3 together. So number 1, find and copy the phrase that tells you Bob and Joan wanted to have children. So the phrase would be much as they would have liked to. Much as they would have liked to. Number 2, surprised is the statement that best describes how Bob was feeling when he heard a knock at the door. Number 3, why do you think Joan wanted to feed the boy? Well, lots of reasons you could have given for this. Perhaps because he was filthy and looked like he hadn't been fed. Perhaps she felt sorry for him and wanted to look after him. Something along those lines, her feeling sorry for him or wanting to be charitable. Okay, moving on to the next 2 questions. So if you can pause the video here and use the steps to success to help you. Off you go. Okay, hopefully that's given you a chance to look at questions 4 and 5. So let's have a look. So puzzled is the word that tells you the boy was confused, and we should have got that because it's of course one of our actions and one of our bits of key vocabulary. And number 5, how can you tell the boy was hungry? Well, he began eating without a second's pause. He eats instantly, doesn't he? And now let's look at the final 2 questions as well as the extension. So question 6 and 7, it's just one word answer. That won't take you too long, I don't think, but do make sure it fits it fits in the with the question, and that you have double checked it. Just because it's a shorter answer doesn't mean that it's any easier. And the extension, if you manage to get question 6 and 7 done, if you could write a paragraph describing how life might be if Joan and Bob adopted the boy. So write a paragraph describing how life might be if Joan and Bob adopted the boy. And I apologize, there shouldn't be a question mark there because it's not a question. So very minimum you should do is get question 6 and 7 done. And if you'd like to have a go at the extension, that would be fantastic, and looking forward to reading that later on. Okay, pause the video now and we'll go through the answers in a moment. Off you go. So, question 6. So, the statement that best describes how Joan was feeling when the boy began to eat his food. That would be horrified, of course. She was horrified. So quite one of our words from last week, wasn't it? Horrified. So she's quite shocked the way that he's sort of just guzzling it and shoving it in. And then finally, which statement best describes how Joan felt when the boy said thank you? I think, yeah, absolutely. She was proud that he learnt manners so quickly. So that concludes our reading. If you've written a paragraph describing how life might be like if Joan and Bob adopted the boy, that would be really really great. If you haven't, maybe give that a go. Think about the sort of comic situations that they might get into. A boy with sort of no knowledge of manners or no knowledge of the human world, how it might be perhaps if he goes to school, what life might be like with Joan and Bob. It would be really great to hear what you've got to say about that. But for now, I will stop sharing my screen. Thank you so much for all of your hard work. Looking forward to see what you submit on Seesaw. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you tomorrow for the big question. Thank you very much. Bye, guys.